Good day, everyone. So this time we will learn about the definition of terms. In research, it is very important that the key terms are being defined. So later on, you will know what are the different ways or the types of definition of terms used in research. Do you wonder why? These are the questions. Why do we need to give meaning of something? It could be a term or action. Is it important that we give meaning to something? Or why do we need to define terms in research? So these questions will be given to you and you will be answering it in just a minute of thinking. So you are going to reflect, why do we need to define terms? Is it important to define those terms? Why is it important? So actually we are defining terms in research because we want to make sure that our readers can better understand what is that research that we are trying to give, and how can they understand it better? It's by defining the key terms. So it's not only simply defining but clearly defining the terms, and at the same time defining terms avoids misconceptions or misinterpretations. So for us to understand each other, the readers can understand your study, it is important that the terms are being defined. So what terms should be defined in research? How can we identify the terms to be defined in research? So that's the question. What is it up to a researcher, the terms that he or she needs to define, or there are rules to follow on selecting the terms that are needed to be defined? So the terms to be used to be defined in research are the key terms. So these key terms may be single word or group of words that can be found in the title. So the major variables in your title or the major terms in the title should be defined, and then at the same time try to look at the statement of the problem. If your statement of the problem has introduced some variables, areas, or categories that are not mentioned in the title, it is a must for you to define those also. So examples of terms to be defined given a title. So as I have mentioned a while ago, that we will use our title and statement of the problem as our basis in selecting the terms to be defined. So if given a title, how can we choose the terms to be defined? Say for example, the title is on academic performance of the senior high school students in the new normal. So that is the title. So the terms to be defined are, it could be academic performance. Others also separate the two, the academic and the performance. But if your study, it's up to the researcher. If your study is really the academic performance, it's a single variable, academic performance, not a separate one, then you can just simply define this group of words. You can also define senior high school, or you can define students. If not, you can just define the senior high schools together, school students. Also the new normal, but you cannot split the new and the normal, because new normal is common understanding that there is really a new normal and it's not a separate entity or separate words. Second title, Reading Comprehension and Performance in Mathematics of Grade 6 Pupils in the District of Bacolod City. Say for example, that's the title. Then the terms to be defined are reading, others would have comprehension or just simply the reading comprehension, performance, mathematics, grade 6, you can also have pupils or just simply grade 6 pupil. Next, examples of terms to be defined given this title: effectiveness of principals' communication skills and its relation to teachers' work attitude. So the key terms to be defined are principal, communication, skills or communication skills, teachers, work or work attitude, or attitude. but we are not defining the and its at the same time relation. So these terms are not key terms, but only this mentioned term. Next, what about if you will be given a statement of the problem? So say for example, in the title number 2, you have there the statement of the problem. What is the level of effectiveness of principals' communication skills as assessed by teachers in the following areas, and when these areas are taken all together? So there are areas for the communication skills, and these are verbal, non-verbal, written, and the use of computer in communication. So since you have introduced these variables or areas for communication skills, therefore it is a must that you are going to define this as well. Second, what is the level of effectiveness of principals' communication skills when these principles are grouped according to selected variables? So this time, you have introduced the variables, the demographic profile, which are sex, length of service, and educational attainment. So therefore, it is a must that you are going also to define those terms. So just the same, you have introduced the demographic profile, so you are going to define those variables. So there are two types of definition of terms. One is conceptual and the other one is operational. When we say conceptual, it's the universal meaning that is commonly understood by many people. So it is abstract and more general in nature. Whereas operational definition, it is the meaning of the concept or term as used in a particular study. So it is stated in concrete term, and also it allows measurement. So where to get the definition of terms? So for the conceptual definition, generally you are using the dictionary, because dictionary is the reference book of everyday language. Others may also use definitions from reliable sources like authors, experts, authorities, and the like. However, it is a rule or a rule of thumb that the sources of definition of terms should adhere to the policies and guidelines of an institution, because other institution would not allow conceptual definitions coming from the dictionary. On the other hand, operational definition, it's the researcher who will give the meaning of the terms as how he used those terms in his study. So he is the only one that knows how or what the meaning of the. So how are we going to signal conceptual and operational definition of terms? So for the conceptual, you can use this signal phrase or words conceptually, according to, then you write the source. For example, another one, you mention the source and then you say defines DepEd, defines new normal as blah blah blah, and then you can also use for Secretary Briones, you mention the source, new normal is blah blah blah. So those are the signals for the conceptual definition. And for the operational definition, you can signal it using the word or words operationally in this study as used in this study. So these are the signal words or group of words that will tell that you are now defining the terms conceptually or operationally. Now let's have examples of definition of terms. So for the conceptual, say for example attitude. So your source here is dictionary. You can say conceptually the term refers to the way you think and feel about someone or something. And then you write the source. For the operational, you can say operationally as used in this study or in this study. The term attitude refers to the total feelings towards work among teachers in Talisay City as measured in Part B of the questionnaire. So it is the researcher who knows what is attitude as he used in his study. So in this case, he will be using an instrument, and in that instrument, that questions on attitude are found in Part B. Another one, conceptually, the term attitude refers to the way you think about, feeling, or something. In this study, actually, it's just the same with the highest educational attainment. According to National Center for Educational Statistics 2018, the term highest educational attainment refers to the highest level of education completed. For the operational, so for example, refers to the highest degree, highest educational attainment of the senior high school teacher respondents as reflected in their responses in the questionnaire and supported by their transcript of records. So the educational attainment is classified as master's degree and non-master's degree. Actually, the researcher classified it into the master's and non-master's degree, but we know that there are other levels of educational attainment like bachelor's or baccalaureate with units and master's degree with units in PhD and PhD degree. So it's up to the researcher on how he categorize that variable. So as mentioned in the previous slide, it is concrete and therefore it is being measured. So we are now closer to research writing, and the question is, are we ready? So I hope this discussion. Thank you so much and stay safe everyone. God bless.
Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get the new video updates.